So again, welcome to Libraries Connecting Texas. This is our February 27th call. We are a month into the window, a little bit over a month into the filing window for 2020, and we have about a month left, a little bit less than a month left. Our goal is to file all Libraries Connecting Texas Form 471s by March 13th. That's just in a couple of weeks. So if you haven't filed your Form 471 yet, people are reaching out to you. Please respond to them as soon as possible. Today, I'm going to give you a summary of some of the things that have been happening with funding in Libraries Connecting Texas. Kyle's going to talk a little bit about the timeline and the to-do list between now and March. We are not going to have a call in March because of the filing window close. We will have our next call after this one in April, and we'll be sending out that agenda in April. Ashley Brown is going to talk about the filing deadline and things that you need to know about the filing deadline. And then Jenny is going to talk about the next steps after you file the Form 471, what to expect and how to handle those things. So we're going to get started now. So I just wanted everybody to know kind of where we are. The 2020 filing window started in January, on January 15th. And since then, 48 applications for Libraries Connecting Texas participants have been filed. 19 of those are waive ready and 13 are in final review, which means that they're in the next step, about to be waive ready. We're hoping that means that all of those applications are going to be in the first funding wave. Last year, we saw that those who were waive ready right before they started funding applications, those were in the first wave. So congratulations to everybody who's already filed their Form 471, because if you've already filed, that just means that you're going to be probably one of those people who are funded first, and you probably won't have to pay anything out of pocket for your bill beginning July 1st, because if you're getting discounted bills, then your vendors should be discounting your bills by July 1st. So that's a really exciting thing, and if you haven't filed your Form 471, you should do it as soon as possible. So to let you know about 2018 and 2019, we have 3 groups of libraries that have been filing with us. We had Group 1 that started in 2018, Group 2 that started in 19, and then Group 3 that started in 20. And the ones that started in Group 1 have been filing all 3 years. So we're seeing exponentially funding levels are going up. For 2018, all of the Libraries Connecting Texas libraries have completed invoicing for their Category 1 Internet access services. That's what is part of the Libraries Connecting Texas project. That's the goal, is to get funding for Internet access. 1,125,931.89 has been dispersed. We know that some of the invoices that have been filed have not been dispersed yet because some of the people waited until the very end to file, and those haven't been dispersed yet. But we'll continue to report to you the amount of money that's being dispersed and how things are going with that. 52 funding requests were invoiced by the service provider and 41 were invoiced by the libraries. That means 41 of you filed bare invoices, and that's very impressive because it means that you have to file some extra forms. In 2019, so for those of you who expect the service provider to invoice USAC, you should be seeing discounts on your bills. Please check your bill and make sure that those discounts are there. Only 40% of the funding requests for 2019 have an invoice mode set. That means someone has filed an invoice against that FRN. 9 of those are bears. The rest of them are service provider invoices. So 60% hasn't done anything yet. And if you're filing a bear, then then you should know if you filed a BEAR or not. And that's fine if you wait till the end to file your BEAR. But if you are expecting your service provider to invoice the discounts, double check and make sure that your bills are showing discounts. For 2019, so far, $329,985 has been dispersed so far. So we are expecting that to go up a lot more. So I think it's time for Kyle to present about the reminders for February and March. Kyle, do you want to talk about the reminders for February and March?
Hello, everyone. This is Kyle Lewis. I may have spoken to you a few times over the phone, and you've likely gotten some of the emails that we've been sending regarding the recent action items that need to be addressed. That is one of the things that needs to be paid attention to as we are going through the home stretch of meeting the deadline for filing our Form 471s. So if you receive these emails, be sure to open them because they are time sensitive based on that March 25th deadline. And it's going to be more and more difficult to file these as we approach that deadline. So time is of the essence on those. If you have any questions about any of these, give us a call at our LCT hotline at 516-801-7820. But moving on to the specific list of action items that need to be addressed in the remainder of February and March coming up here. If you have filed a Form 470 for the funding year 2020, you need to complete all of the below action items. First off is going to be completing the bid evaluation matrix to evaluate the bids that you received during the Form 470 bidding period. Moving on to, after that, the contacting of the winning vendor to establish a written agreement with them. And if you have received contract information from that vendor, then that will need to be entered into Epic. You will also need to complete the next two steps, but if you are using a 470 from a previous year, you will also need to follow these next two steps, and that is complete and certify the Form 471, and you may be contacted by USAC regarding PIA review, which Ginny will go into more detail about later in the presentation. So the first step in that is the bid evaluation. We will be sending you reminders, and you have likely already gotten these reminders regarding actions that need to be taken. This includes the bid evaluation matrix. You fill this with the information that you received on the bids and allows you to memorialize and document your decision based on the bidding information there. You also get a sample award letter, which we'll address in the next slide. But once you fill this bid matrix, please send a copy to us at lct@eratecentral.com for our records. And then that brings us to the award letter. Again, that is included on the same email as an attachment. If you don't have either of these documents, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll resend these to you. The award letter is going to need to be completed and sent out to the winning service provider by email based on the winning bidder from the bid evaluation matrix you completed. The email helps to document the date you made your decision, because this is information that be included in contract and 471 information. And if there is a formal contract, the day that you sign the contract is going to be the contract award date, and it needs to be signed prior to filing the Form 471. Again, with any of these documents and any signed agreements, please send a copy to us at lct@eratecentral.com. That brings us to, if you do have a signed contract established, you will need to enter the information into Epic before completing the Form 471. Most libraries are going to have a signed agreement or contract in place that lists a term with a beginning and end date, a pricing with monthly recurring charges, a bandwidth that lists your internet speed there at 100 megabits per second. For example, it will vary for you, and it will include both upload and download speeds, and voluntary extensions, and you should check your contract to see if this is allowed. It should explicitly say in the contract, if so. Moving on to the filing of your Form 471, all the documents that you've gotten up until now are going to be applied to this. So if you file a Form 470 for the year 2020, you're going to need a copy of the contract or agreement you signed with the service provider, including all the information we listed on the previous slide there, especially the pricing for the internet access. If it is the same service provider you used last year, as you can see, you may also want to use a bill to determine monthly taxes and fees. If you did not file a Form 471 this year, 470 this year, you will be using a copy of your current internet bill that details all charges, and a copy of your current Form 471, your Form 471 from last year. And these are going to contain information that will be applied to your Form 471 for this year. And finally, that is all going to be due on the Form 471 deadline we are setting a internal deadline on that for March 13th. And this is going to help us deal with any changes that need to be addressed before that final March 25th deadline. And so it's very important that we meet this date. And if you need any help with doing that, please reach out to us. And as you can see, what needs to be done by then: bids need to be evaluated, contracts need to be signed, Form 471 must be certified in Epic. As you can see, if you need help one-on-one with an LCT account manager to get this certified, reach out to us. Otherwise, we have the Come File With Us webinars, which are on the following Thursdays at 1:30 p.m. Central Time in the next couple weeks here. And as you can see, it closes, the final window closes at 10:59 Central Time on March 25th. But you're all going to file before then, so we don't have to worry about that. Moving on to, passing it on to Ginny Harwood now, who is going to discuss the PIA review.
Thank you, Kyle. Hello, everybody. Hanging in there, I hope. Okay, I am going to talk to you about what the next steps are once you've filed your 471. We are pushing for the March 13th deadline, That is 2 weeks from tomorrow. So some of you may not be able to make that deadline, but most of you can. So if you haven't already filed your 471s, but here's what you can expect from what happens after the 471 is certified. There's a team at USAC called the Program Integrity Assurance Team, and they review all 471 applications that are certified in the system. If they have questions regarding the charges that you've got on there or the eligibility of anything, then they will submit what's called an inquiry in the EPIC system, and you will get a notification, or should get a notification in your email of that inquiry. So it's very important to make sure that, I've heard some libraries say that their spam filter caught a USAC email or an E-Rate Central email. You might want to get with your IT department just to ensure that the USAC.org emails are not caught up in spam. So as soon as you receive the email notification, you might want to contact us that same day. We'd like to take a look at the request before you respond and make sure you're responding appropriately. And again, our email is lct@eratecentral.com, or our hotline is 516-801-7820. That contact information is also on all the emails that Kyle sends out to our LCT team. These emails are time sensitive. You have 15 days to respond to the questions that are asked, and those must be submitted in EPIC before the 15-day deadline. Important, just to make some important notations here, all of the emails must be reviewed as soon as possible. So when you see an email come in, I'm going to show you in a minute what those look like, a sample email. Be sure that you open it and get on it as soon as you can. They will come from portal@portal.usac.org. And the email subject will be the application number, your Form 471 application number, and it'll say E-Rate review information. So that'll alert you to, okay, this is something important I've got to open. There'll be a link in the page, it's in the email itself, that will take you straight to the inquiry page in EPIC. And also the email will come from a reviewer. So their name and their contact information is in that email. So if you need to ask questions to them, you don't understand what's being requested, things like that, you can contact them. So the sample email looks similar to this. It'll have the date, today's date when they send the email, and then they will have the 15-day deadline already pasted here so you can see what that deadline is. They'll have your contact name, the applicant name, and your application number. And none of the questions will be in the context of the email. You'll need to click on this link right here. And as you hover over it, you can see that little box pop up. And that is the URL that it'll take you to the EPIC page. Okay. So we're going to dive into, once you click on that email, it'll take you to EPIC. Okay, and everybody has an EPIC login. So that's your email and a password that you created. Now, sometimes those not sometimes, those passwords will change every 60 days. So if you can't get in, go ahead and reset your password. And then once you go and click on this link from your email again, it'll take you directly to this inquiry page. It'll look like this: pending inquiries. And you may have one, or you may have two or more questions here in this table. These are the questions they're asking. You can see that who assigned the questions, who the reviewer is, what their title is, their phone number, when they assigned the inquiry, and what the due dates are. And then, of course, the status. They're going to need a response, and that won't change to submitted until you actually click submit. So at the very top of the page of that web page, once you see those inquiries listed, you'll need to click on a button at the top right that says Respond to Inquiries. You'll click on that button and it will open up that table again where you can actually click on the question right here where it says the name of the inquiry. You can click on that button and it will open up into a different page and tell you what the questions are that they're asking. A lot of times they're going to ask one question about, give us some supporting documentation for the amount of money you requested for your internet, something similar to that. So how do you reply? You want to answer all the questions that are in there. It may require you to upload supporting documentation. And then once you've uploaded that information, you have to click Submit. And once you've answered all of the questions, they will go into those questions will leave the pending inquiries table and they will go into the submitted inquiries table. Okay, and what I'm showing you here is under pending inquiries. If you've answered them, there should be no pending inquiries. That's a good thing. Okay. To verify that you've submitted everything, or if you want to go back and look and see what you submitted, you can access that as well. So you'll go to the submitted inquiries table and you can open that up and see what information you provided, how you answered that question. If you uploaded your contract or something to that effect, then you can see all that information in here. Okay, so you want to move everything from pending into submitted as soon as you can. So what types of questions does PIA ask? As I indicated before, the most common question they'll ask will be requesting supporting documentation for the eligibility of the services you requested or to verify the amount of money that you requested. So what is considered supporting documentation? It could be a copy of your contract if you have one. Be sure you send them a copy of the signed contract. It could be a copy of a recent bill from your internet service provider. So either of those items could be supporting documentation for your request. But I think most importantly at this point, it's very important for you to engage the folks on this call, your LCT team, when you do get an PIA inquiry, how to answer it, that we guide you in uploading the proper documentation and that kind of thing. So just be sure to engage us and we'll definitely provide you with prompt assistance. Are there any questions? Hey. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You guys have made this easy for us today. I hope you gained some information, and as always, please be sure to contact us at our LCT email or any of us if you have our direct email. If you've been working with Caroline or Kyle, myself, or Ashley, and you feel more comfortable just emailing us, that's fine too. And then calling our hotline at 516-801-7820. Any of us can answer that phone, whoever's available. That way you get help immediately. Our next call will be, like Caroline said, we are going to skip our March conference call because that is the deadline of the filing window. So we'll give you a break in March. But our next call will be April 23rd at 2 o'clock Central Time. Again, I've provided some additional online resources here if you want to go view any training courses that the Texas Libraries Association provides or any of our E-Rate Central resources. Those links are there for you.
Thanks, Jenny. And I also want to add that we are going to be continuing to post these webinars on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, we've got recordings of all of our monthly webinars that we've ever done. So you can check those out as well. We hope this has been helpful to you. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Thanks, Jenny and Kyle, for presenting your information, and we look forward to seeing you all on the next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.